What would the Cup do for Connor's legacy? Gretzky, Lemieux, Howe, or the greatest of all time in that exclusive club? Cheryl, we all agree Connor's knocking. But if he closes the deal this time around, does he gain entry into joining that super elite club?
Well, are they having cognac and stogies in there? Because that's a question I'm going to have, because I think that door is wide open. I think he is sort of under the frame right now. I think he's on his tippy toes reaching in, to get that cigar. And those guys are going, hold on, you're 28. You got to finish out this career before you enter this room. But there's no question in my mind he is going to enter it. There's no question in mind if he wins a Stanley Cup, he is going to get there. It's just a matter of the time frame. Listen, we talk about him being the most evolved hockey player to ever play the game. And you can sit in that room and look at those guys and say, okay, generations have sort of gone by. It's a different game. It's a different pace. There's different equipment and training. But when are we going to start talking about what this guy does against his peer groups? The speed at which he plays, it is incomparable. The way that he can break ankles as he's going by players, to reach 100 assists, only the fourth player in NHL history to do that during the regular season, but also to reach that marker in the playoffs. He wins the Conn Smythe last year and a losing effort with 42 points. This guy is an absolute machine. He's won every single award. And with that neutral upper body, the way he comes down on defensemen, I don't know whether he's going left or right. To analyze this guy is to throw it all up in the air. So there's no question in my mind he's going to enter that room at some point, but those guys are just putting the brakes on him right at this point right now.
Fair enough. The all-time playoff points per game list reads Gretzky, Lemieux, and McDavid. So there's no argument he's the best player in this Cup final. But excluding him and the goaltenders, who's the second most important player to his team in this Cup final? Draisaitl to the Oilers or Barkov to the Panthers?
This is a really tough question for me, Gino. I think there's going to be so many X factors in this series. You could talk about the Oilers D, whether they're going to be able to weather the forecheck of the Panthers. But when you look at those two guys in particular, look at Sasha Barkov. He's outstanding. He's got a 200-foot game, and it's the details, the way he knows how to layer, his spacing, playing up against the best players in the world, and he's about to go up against the best yet again in Connor McDavid, who did have 11 points in last year's final. But Connor McDavid didn't score in Game 1, didn't register a point, or Game 6 and 7. And Barkov and Reinhart are massive, massive pieces to that puzzle. So I look at Barkov and say he's got to limit McDavid. There's no question about it for this team to have success. But I also look at Leon Draisaitl on the other side of it, and I'm saying to myself, this is a guy, he's a Hart Trophy finalist, and they've got this 1-2 punch. They're now at home for the first two games, so they can align their matchups. But on the road, Leon Draisaitl, I think, has to be the difference maker here. Because I think Barkov is going to go head-to-head with McDavid. And then you've got someone like Draisaitl, who wasn't healthy last year. He only had 3 helpers in the entire series. And all of those 3 helpers happened at home, Gino. So for me, if Draisaitl can play to form, can win his matchup, I think the Edmonton Oilers win the Stanley Cup. So to me, the X factor in this series, going to Leon Draisaitl.
By the way, Barkov just was surprised with winning the Selke earlier today, so that's pretty cool. Just shows how incredibly talented he is, and we all knew that. All right, given how ridiculously hard it is to get here, the intensity of the Stanley Cup final is off the charts. And then you ratchet that up with the added layer of the rematch. This is going to be crazy, Cheryl. Given your role in the Canada-USA rivalry, what's it do for the players themselves to be part of something this special?
Well, it's just outstanding, right? You want to be part of this matchup. You want to go back head to head, and you want revenge if you're the Oilers. I know if we've ever lost the United States, that next matchup, you are just chomping at the bit, right? And I do think you do go over some game tape in your preparation because you want to leave no stone unturned. So you can bet that Chris Knobloch and company, even the McDavids of the world, they're going to go look and see what that matchup looked like against Barkov. Where are the holes in Bobrovsky? Because that's what the best in the world do, They're so intense. They want to find out the why. Why did we lose? How do we win? But I also think this is a very different team when you look at the Edmonton Oilers. You're looking at a team right now, I think after Game 2 in that LA series, said to themselves, listen, McDavid had a 4-point game last game, and we lost. So we better figure out how to have a collective group defensively so that we can turn the puck and go the other way. And that's exactly what we've seen from them over the course of this series. or over the course of the playoffs since then, the consistency in their goaltending. But I think it's that unrivaled matchup, you know, just the intensity. They know what's coming. They know they're going to have to absorb hits. They know they're going to have to give hits because the margin of error is so very thin. So I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be highly entertaining, back and forth hockey. And again, when you go back to back and rematch, I think it's just even heightened that much more in terms of the animosity around the group and also the respect for the opponent. So it's going to be an outstanding Stanley Cup final. There's no question about that, Gino.
Well, Cheryl, the Oilers certainly won't lack for motivation coming out of the gate. We've all seen the video of the Oilers' room after last year's Game 7 loss to the Panthers. So no one needs to remind them of how devastating the pain can be when you fall short.